Hi. In my 20 plus years of helping people buy and sell here in the DMV, particularly Montgomery County, Maryland, I've seen beautiful deals fall apart suddenly and overnight because of small but deadly mistakes. Today, I want to share with you five of the most serious mistakes that can occur that could cost money, can cost time, and even put your deposit at risk. And then I want to show you how to make sure it doesn't happen to you. The number one deal killer: buyers changing their financial picture after going under contract. Maybe it's a new car lease. The new house needs furniture, so you buy it on credit. Maybe it's opening a new credit card to get and take advantage of those home decor discounts that you find. Even one new credit inquiry can derail your approval. If you need to make purchases, smartest move is to wait till after you settle. But if there's things that you do actually need to do, you actually need to arrange things prior to settlement, talk to your lender first. They can tell you if a certain amount of money is okay to put on credit or a certain amount of money is not okay. Sometimes it's a small amount. Just an inquiry alone can affect your ability to qualify for the mortgage. And don't change jobs. The lenders will re-verify employment history just before settlement. So you don't want to make a change because that could ruin the whole process. And if the loan fails because of any of this, the seller could declare you as the buyer in breach and put a claim on your deposit. And deposits can often be quite large sums, so you don't want to risk losing it. So before you make any change in your financial picture, any change in your job scene, talk to the lender, talk to your agent, make sure it's okay. For most things, probably better to wait the month to make that change. But if you have to, then at least get the proper advice before you do it. You could save yourself thousands and you could save your deposit. The second big boo-boo that can derail the transaction and cause big problems is to miss a critical deadline. Every real estate contract in the DMV runs on deadlines. Miss one and the clock doesn't stop for you. If your contract allows for you to get an inspection done in 7 days from ratification, make sure you get it done, make sure you get your report, and make sure you have the information to send to the seller if you're requesting repairs. Miss it, and you could be buying that house as is. Let the financing contingency expire. You could be buying that house anyway, even if you fail to get a full approval. And at that point, you could lose your deposit, which is big time painful. What do you do to protect yourself? Pay attention to the deadlines. Look at what you're signing. Mark them on your calendar if you want, but pay attention to them. They're all important. They all have penalties, and they all could cost you serious trouble if you miss one. Now, if you're up against a deadline and you can't make it, have your agent make a request to extend it. Both parties want the transaction to get to settlement. So if there's a delay that can help manage a situation that's come up, most times parties will agree to it. So there is an option in the event that you're up against a deadline that you can't quite meet. But big thing to know here is do not miss it. Do not ignore it. Do not go past it without having something in place to protect you in that event. Mistake number three: ignoring the homeowner association or condo doc review period. Lots of times I hear people say, nobody reads them. Well, you're right, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't. Skip them and miss out on something that seriously affects you in those documents, and you could be in big trouble. You want to look for pending assessments, weak reserves, even restrictive rules. All of those things are in print and are required to be disclosed to you as the buyer when you're in the contract. And each jurisdiction provides for a certain time period where you have the right to review them, and usually you have the ability to cancel the contract if there is something that you find in those documents that you can't abide by or can't live with. About 10 or 12 years ago, I had a client buy a condo in the area, and she took that same viewpoint of, nobody reads them, what's the big deal? Well, it turns out that after settlement, she got notification that there was a $10,000 special assessment. It was disclosed in the docs. She never saw it, so she was really upset that she now had to come up with $10,000 that she wasn't counting on. Another situation was some folks buying an older condo in Virginia. And in the documents, they disclosed the fact that there were some significant capital improvements being planned for the community. There were roofs being replaced, there were electrical system improvements, and all of these were going to come to millions of dollars over the long haul. Somehow these things have to get paid for, and they get passed on to the unit owners. These smart buyers actually read their documents, saw the information, and we were able to go back to the seller and actually get some financial help to cover some of the cost of all of this. So read your documents. Sometimes you even have two sets. Sometimes there is a condo association as well as a homeowner association. Read them. If you need help, we'll get you help, but you got to pay attention to them. They are legal documents. They are binding. If there is an issue that shows up in the documents that you miss, you are going to be held accountable for it after settlement as the new owner. So the handling for this, read the documents. You don't necessarily have to read page after page after page, but there are important points. There are things to look at, and you should definitely make sure you pay attention to what's in those documents. It'll save you a lot of difficulty and could save you tons of money. Mistake number 4, this applies more to the seller than the buyer, and this involves disclosure. Sometimes sellers think they can just check as is on the disclosures and not have to worry about anything. That's one of the fastest ways to end up in legal trouble. Don't disclose a latent defect that you know about, and you could be held liable for it later. What you want to be careful of is latent material defects. A material defect is a defect that affects the value of the house, might affect the purchaser's decision to make the sale in the first place, or could affect the new owner's ability to occupy the property without health or safety concerns. And if you, as the seller, knew about it and didn't disclose it, you could be in big trouble later. There are lots of potential latent defects that could come into question here. One could be a leaky roof that's just not seen, but seller knows that it was there. Perhaps you had the low bidder do the electrical work and he didn't pull the permits. Now someone finds an improperly wired electrical system that could pose a fire hazard later. A good rule of thumb here as the seller is, when in doubt, disclose. It is better to lose a couple of prospective buyers than to land in some sort of legal mess down the road after settlement because you withheld something or altered the facts such that the buyer considers that you withheld something. There is a disclosure form, and you want to fill it out completely, or at least make known any latent defects that you do know about. Mistake number 5. A well-meaning buyer or seller communicates directly with the other side in order to clear up something. That's risky. That can change terms in the contract without you even being aware. It can even cause breach. The best thing to do here is to keep all your communication through your agent, and best even more so is to keep all of your communication in writing. That way there's never any misconception about what was in fact said because you can refer back to what was in writing. Buying or selling a home in the DMV doesn't have to be risky. It's detail-oriented and detail-driven, and you got to pay attention to those details in order to keep yourself out of hot water. Small mistakes can cost thousands or even put your deposit at risk. Before you do anything, if you have a question about it, or even if you don't, talk to your agent. Talk to your lender. Talk to the title company even. Find out before you do something stupid and cost yourself a lot of money and a lot of heartache. Be smart, have a good transaction, and enjoy your new home.